The Mi Max 2 was just announced a few hours ago, and I did a live stream of it, covering of it, kind of live translating it. But now that the event is over and the spec sheet is up and the pictures are up, we can talk about the Mi Max 2 and everything you need to know about the latest big phone release from Xiaomi. So interestingly enough, a lot of the rumors weren't really true. The leaks of the design were pretty much spot on though. It was a full unibody design, antenna lines that curved on the top, but in terms of other specifications like the internals, a lot of the leaks didn't get it right. Let's talk about the design first, then we'll talk about internals. Design wise, like I said, full unibody design with antenna lines on the top. Interestingly enough, only coming in gold. It's not coming in silver, it's not coming in grey, it's not coming in black, which is kind of weird and, in my opinion, a big disappointment. We still have a 6.44-inch screen on the front. They advertise having a smaller black border on the screen like this, but in exchange for that, we seem to be getting a little bit more white border on the sides. The display on the front is still a 1080p IPS screen. In terms of the color gamut wise, it only supports 72% of NSTC, which is pretty okay as what is it's standard across pretty much the whole Redmi lineup. And also Xiaomi claims it can get as bright as 450 nits, which is a good thing. The design is a lot more curved around the edges and the sides, and that's about it when it comes to design. Internals wise, things has changed quite a fair bit. Big thing, the battery has gone through a big bump, and by big I mean about a 500 mAh bump from 4850 to about 5300 mAh, which is really nice. The internals have changed though. Instead of using a Snapdragon 650 or the 652 or previous generations, we have gone down to a Snapdragon 625. A little bit more about that later. We have gone to 4GB of RAM on both variants of the Mi Max. The first variant having 64GB of internal storage and the second variant having 128GB of internal storage. Also, big thing, the camera has changed completely. Instead of using the sensor of the Redmi Note series, we have gone up to use the same sensor as the Mi 6. It's using the IMX386, which is a really good sensor. Though we don't have OIS, which is kind of expected. So photos from this phone should look pretty good. As we have seen from the Mi 6, the processing that Xiaomi has done on those photos look pretty good. So hopefully the same processing applies to the Mi Max 2. And with that camera, we have face detect autofocus as well. It has an f2.2 aperture lens, and also it looks like we are finally getting a proper manual mode. On previous Redmis, we have had pretty much neutered camera software where the manual mode pretty much is not really a manual mode, where we only can change things like ISO and white balance. It looks like on the Mi Max 2, we do have the option to change shutter speed, ISO, and all this other stuff, including manual focus, because from what we have seen from the sample pictures, we saw photos with shutter speeds of about 8 seconds, which you can't do without a proper manual mode. So hopefully we get that. The camera also supports 4K video like the previous Mi Max, though it should look a lot better considering the better sensor. And the front megapixel is still 5 megapixels with an angle of 85 degrees according to Xiaomi's website. And it's using the Beautify 2.0 software, which I kind of need on my face. Simply put, it looks very promising. It is still using the hybrid SIM setup with LTE bands 1, 3, 5, 7 and 8. And we have Wi-Fi AFC and MU-MIMO Wi-Fi, which is good. That's something that they seem to skimp on the Redmi Note 4X. Glad it's back on the Mi Max 2. We also have USB Type-C, which is a nice welcome improvement. And we also have Quick Charge 3.0 instead of Quick Charge 2.0 of the Mi Max 1. Oh, and I forgot to mention, we have a dual speaker setup. So instead of just a speaker on the bottom, the Mi Max 2 employs a system similar to the Mi 6 and the HTC 10 and U11 I think as well, where basically the top earphone can double as a speaker and so is the bottom speakers. So it's now a proper dual speaker setup. And pricing wise, you can get the 4GB, 64GB storage version for about 1,700 RMB, which translates to about $250 US. You won't be able to get it for that price. Remember, there's still a lot of importer tax and whatever if you're living outside of China. And the 128GB storage version comes at about 2,000 RMB, so that's about $300 US. They are available online and offline in China starting June 1st. Alright, let's talk about improvements and probably the biggest thing that annoyed so many people today, and that is the processor. It's using the Snapdragon 625, which is not a bad chipset, but we were expecting at least a 626. We had the 625 for quite a while now. I think it's almost a year already. And the 626, the successor, has been released. And the 630, the successor to that, has just been released announced 2 weeks ago. And yes, it's announced, meaning it's not available yet for manufacturers to purchase and use, but at least give us a 626. I really can't understand why we didn't get a 626, especially considering the price tag. It's not that cheap a phone, and it's actually even more expensive than the original Mi Max, which started at 1,500 RMB. A lot of people were thinking of the Snapdragon 660 coming to this phone. I didn't expect that. We didn't see any benchmarks getting leaked of that. And the only phone that we have seen and we know that will have the 660 is the Oppo R11, and I have a feeling they have an exclusivity deal of some sort where they'll be the first one to get that processor. But coming back to the Snapdragon 625, a lot of people are unhappy with it because the same with the Note 4X release, when it went from the 650 or the 652 to the 625, it is actually a downgrade in both performance and gaming performance. However, it is an improvement in terms of power efficiency. So that's what Xiaomi is going for here. The Mi Max 2, they're not advertising gaming performance. They didn't even show a benchmark on screen, which is very unusual for Xiaomi. They seem to be focusing a lot less on the power user market and focusing a lot on the general consumer market, and because of that, they seem to be focusing a lot on battery life. Simple as that. So what does that mean realistically for you guys? Well, honestly, in terms of day-to-day performance, going from a 650 or a 652 to a 625, generally you won't feel the difference. I went from a Redmi Note 3 to the Redmi Note 4, like I talked about before. I don't notice a performance difference in terms of everyday use, but you will notice the performance difference in terms of gaming, so do note that if you're a gamer, it might be a better idea to pass on this phone. But in terms of every other person out there, it should be okay going for the Snapdragon 625, even though I really wish that they at least put a 626 and a 660 on this phone, especially considering the higher price point. I'm kind of disappointed at that. I am also slightly disappointed at the color choices. Why is it only available in gold? I really wish there was a lot more color choices, especially considering Xiaomi's last few releases have had quite a few color choices. Give us silver, give us black. We would like the color choices, please. Please give us color choice. Hopefully Xiaomi updates the phone with more colors. They have done so in the past with the Mi 5S Plus and the Redmi Note 4. And also my personal thoughts about the pricing. I think it's a bit expensive for what it brings when you compare the value of previous Xiaomi phones, and considering it's still more expensive than the current Mi Max, and the Mi Max might drop in price because of the Mi Max 2, the Mi Max 1 might be actually a really good phone to grab now because of that. And of course with that, let's talk about Mi Max 1 original users or people looking for a 6.4-inch phone. Is the Mi Max 2 a good phone to get? If you're going to use it for a lot of video consumption, music consumption, I think the Max 2 will be a better choice simply due to the dual speaker setup. Of course, we have to wait for reviews to come out to know if it's actually any good. And also, the Mi Max 2 fixes one of the biggest issue with the Mi Max 1, which was the camera. The Mi Max 1 camera was awful. So the Mi Max 2 does seem like a decent upgrade. And let's not forget about the battery improvements. But if you're a gamer, I might say stick with the Mi Max 1 or go with the Mi Max 1. Or if you can find a good deal on the Mi Max 1. The Mi Max 1 is not an outdated phone. It's a really good phone still. If you can find a deal on that, maybe just snag the Mi Max 1 instead. So those are my personal opinions of the Mi Max 2. I look forward to seeing some reviews come out, and we'll see how it goes from there. And of course, I know I'll get this question in this comment in terms of international availability, whether it's India, whatever regions. We don't know. They did not say anything about international release date. I would think it would come in the next 2 to 3 months, so just disanticipate that. But those of you in China or have friends in China or are able to import things from China, June 1st, watch the date. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching this overview of the Mi Max 2. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see more content about Xiaomi, be it how-tos, tips, or just things like this, feel free to subscribe down below and you'll be notified whenever I release a new video. So there's that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.